Tonight, Canadians exploring more of the Great White North.
People have made a conscious decision to stay within Canada.
New data pointing to an increase in domestic travel as Canadians soak up all that this country has to offer. Seeking new trade partnerships and deeper security ties. Mark Carney sets off for Armenia in his 21st country visit since becoming Prime Minister. And celebrating a local business success story.
This is the first store for Giant Tiger, and they now have more than 200 stores across the country.
Giant Tiger turns 65, holding a proper birthday bash.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Domestic air travel is taking off across Canada with more people choosing to fly closer to home this spring. It comes as airlines expand their domestic networks, giving travelers more options to explore everything this country has to offer. CTV's Josh Marano joins us live in studio with more on this. Josh.
Yeah, Austin, numbers from Statistics Canada show domestic air travel was up 10% in March compared to last year. The stats come at a time when flying isn't as affordable as it used to be due to rising fuel prices. But people I spoke with today say they aren't letting that get in the way of their travel plans. For 92-year-old Yoka Lissenberg, flying is all about family.
I have a family in St. Martin. I have a family in Holland, and I live in Canada.
She says she still flies abroad to visit loved ones, but notes lately she's been choosing to stay within the country more.
I do more Canada and Holland, but before like Germany and France.
New data from Statistics Canada shows domestic air travel is on the rise. In March, the number of passengers screened for domestic flights was up 10% from last year. At the Ottawa airport, more than 289,000 passengers traveled domestically in March, the highest March total in 5 years.
A segment of Canadians that basically are saying, I'm not going to the U.S. for a lot of reasons, so they are staying domestic.
Airlines now introducing more flights to Canadian destinations, including Porter, offering new flights out of Ottawa to Windsor and Sudbury, launching this weekend. The increase in domestic travel also coming at a time with airfares rising sharply, some airlines adding fuel surcharges tied to rising oil prices due to the ongoing war in the Middle East.
Bottom line, they are staying within Canada because the prices or the surcharge is going to be relatively a lot less than it would be if they were traveling internationally.
And while travelers note they feel the increase and some changes to service, that demand continues to build.
Living in the Caribbean, we notice a lot more Canadians coming to visit us too. The interest in places outside of the U.S. definitely has increased.
For Lissenberg, she says while she doesn't like busy airports, she enjoys seeing more people traveling like herself.
Happy that they are in the country flying with Canadians.
Firestone says another reason Canadians are looking to travel close to home are worries the fuel shortage could affect returning flights from international destinations who depend on the oil from the Strait of Hormuz. Austin.
CTV's Josh Marano reporting live for us tonight. Josh, thank you very much for this. Meantime, discount American carrier Spirit Airlines is shutting down after failing to secure credit or support from the United States government.
As many of you have reported, this morning at 3 a.m., Spirit Airlines ceased operations. So what that means is Spirit does not have airplanes in the air flying as of this morning. Also, their call centers are closed and they don't have staff at ticket counters. So if you have a flight scheduled with Spirit Airlines, don't show up at the airport. There will be no one here to assist you.
Now, this marks the industry's first casualty linked to the Iran war. The collapse is due to the doubling in jet fuel prices amid the conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump had proposed $500 million to save Spirit, despite opposition from some of his closest advisors and many Republicans in Congress. No U.S. carrier of Spirit's size, accounting for 5% of the country's flights, has liquidated in 2 decades. For a lot of travelers coming to Ottawa to enjoy what the nation's capital has to offer, they had a little bit of cloud coverage and some light showers in parts of our region today as well. 8 degrees right now, a bit cooler than maybe what we've become accustomed to, but not too far out of line with what we expect this time of year. Getting quite cold tonight, however. 0 degrees here in Ottawa, -5 in Kittigan-Zibi and -2 in Pembroke and Bancroft. 1 degree along the Seaway, 0 in Cornwall. So dipping quite cool. You can see Tremblant at -6 degrees, -2 over in Gatineau. And we do obviously have a bit of a warm up in store for tomorrow, even warmer than today. Mostly cloudy conditions, some sun peeking through in parts of our city. 12 degrees is the high here in Ottawa, 10 in Kingston, 12 in Gatineau as well, and 13 degrees in Montreal. Prime Minister Mark Carney is headed to Armenia today as a guest at a gathering that brings together leaders from the EU and non-EU countries. This is the first time a Canadian Prime Minister has been invited to the forum. With more, here is CTV's Graham Richardson, who's traveling with the Prime Minister.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's vigorous and intense foreign travel continues today. When he goes to Armenia, this will be the 21st country he's visited in a little over a year as Prime Minister. The Canadians say with good reason. It's important to expand relationships between Canada and countries in and around the EU and those that are members of the EU. Mr. Carney will be meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, also with leaders from Spain and from Italy. Obviously, security will be top of mind, both because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict and what has gone on in Iran. Also, trade. Just yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened 25% tariffs on European cars coming into America, he says, because the EU is not living up to its deal with the Americans. Mr. Carney, of course, famously talked about the rupture in the world, the turnaway of the Americans. That will loom large here again in this meeting with European leaders. This is the first time any Canadian Prime Minister has been invited to this meeting, and whether it's trade or security or what's going on in Iran, all of it will be front and center, with Prime Minister Carney an invited guest of the European political community. Graham Richardson, CTV News, Ottawa.
And as the Prime Minister prepares for upcoming trade talks with the U.S. and Mexico, he says Canada does not view its energy resources as leverage.
We're Canadians. We honor the contracts we have. However, should we be further integrating our energy markets with the United States at a time they view that as, quote, leverage? We continue to recognize that we're stronger together, and I would argue stronger together, including with Mexico, to be more competitive internationally. It's better for jobs in the United States, certainly better for jobs in Canada, and Mexico. So again, we don't see it that way.
Mark Carney's comments to the Canadian press come as a response to the American trade representative saying Canada should not use its resources as leverage during trade discussions. The Prime Minister, though, is stressing Canada will put its interests first in its talks with North American partners. To Nova Scotia now, where a vigil was held this afternoon in the town of Stellarton, marking exactly 1 year since 2 young siblings disappeared. It's been 1 year since 4-year-old Jack and 6-year-old Lily Sullivan went missing. Police are now calling for more fact-based tips. So far, investigators have formally interviewed 106 people, reviewed more than 1,000 video files, and evaluated nearly 1,200 tips. The 2 disappeared from their home in Lansdowne Station 1 year ago today. Since then, multiple searches have taken place. A boot print and a pink blanket that belonged to Lily were found, but nothing else. Their grandmother, Belinda Gray, is reflecting fondly on Jack and Lily.
They were beautiful children. Lily lived in her own make-believe world. She was always talking and going on with. There was never a moment that she wasn't smiling all the time. And Jack reminded me of my son. Jack was more serious. He really studied a lot of things, paid attention to a lot of things.
The province is offering a reward of up to $150,000 for information. Ontario Premier Doug Ford received an honorary doctorate from a U.S. university today. Taking a moment in his speech to the graduating class, to comment on the strained Canada-U.S. relationship.
We've seen less and less teamwork. We've seen the relationship strained, and we've seen the trust and loyalty that was built up over generations shaken and undermined. But I still believe we are stronger together.
Ford received a Doctor of Humane Letters degree from Saginaw Valley State University in Michigan. The Premier also repeated a quote from former U.S. President Ronald Reagan, which was featured in an anti-tariff ad the province ran in U.S. markets late last year. That ad was blamed for halting Canada-U.S. trade talks. A stretch of Highway 7 near Perth is closed after a multi-vehicle crash. Ontario Provincial Police say a propane truck and a passenger vehicle collided on the highway shortly after 2:30 this afternoon. One person was taken to hospital with unknown injuries, and the highway was closed between Leaches and Tennyson roads as police investigate. Well, it is a locally owned discount store right in the heart of the ByWard Market, and this weekend, the first ever Giant Tiger location is celebrating its 65th anniversary. CTV's Natalie Van Rooy joins us in studio now with the details on this. Natalie.
Well, Austin, the retailer known for its bright yellow tiger logo, first started here in Ottawa, and the brand quickly expanded all across Canada. And it's a success story that continues as shoppers resonate with discount prices during a difficult economic time. A crowd of shoppers celebrating 65 years of Giant Tiger in the ByWard Market of Ottawa. The anniversary party highlighting the flagship store in Canada for the discount retailer.
Customers always want to save, and they always want an amazing deal. It's always in style.
Shoppers lining up to get a free gift card and treats.
Honestly, I just love Giant Tiger. I'm just looking around and browsing. I got a nice gift card outside in honor of the birthday, the 65th birthday.
Kids taking part in face painting and posing with the company mascot. Ottawa Mayor Mark Sutcliffe presenting a plaque proclaiming May 3rd Giant Tiger Day.
Great local business, a great family business that was started by Gordon Reed. So many people have been coming here over the years, and it's just a great example of a local business success story. So we're very proud of Giant Tiger and everything they've done for the community.
Municipal, provincial, and federal dignitaries here to honor the business. Staff also presenting a check to the Ottawa Art Gallery to show support during the milestone. While this was the first Giant Tiger location in Canada, the brand has since expanded to more than 250 locations over the years. For more than 6 decades, this store offering a variety of goods from clothing to home essentials to food.
You can't get a better value for your dollar. It's nice to see a business still has their doors open in this economy today.
We did get the gift. I also got the gift card. We were just more excited to see that a store wanted to reach out to the community.
Staff putting forward a mandate of price matching and discounts.
Well, I feel proud working here, first of all, because this is the first store.
Each store location is locally owned and operated, including right here in the ByWard Market. And to celebrate the anniversary, staff are giving customers that free $10 gift card for the first 65 people in the door on both Saturday and Sunday. Austin.
Okay, CTV's Natalie Van Rooy reporting live for us tonight. Natalie, thank you very much for this. Well, in Northern Super League action, Ottawa's Rapid FC is hosting Calgary's Wild FC in Ottawa's home opener.
Kid, and they are under siege. DB Brittam put away by Melanie Forbes.
This game started just over an hour ago. The score is currently 4-2 at the half. Rapid FC opened its season last weekend with a 3-1 loss to Halifax. I should say it's 4-2 for Ottawa. But after that loss, fans are watching this game eagerly, and they will be invited to take in the Ottawa Charge playoff game as soon as this game wraps up. The Ottawa Charge looking to bounce back in their playoff matchup against the Boston Fleet.
Going, it's Rattray on the offense, scores! Jamie Rattray with the go-ahead goal for the Fleet.
That was Canada's Jamie Lee Rattray with the game-winning goal on Thursday as the Boston Fleet beat the Ottawa Charge 2-1 in Game 1. Jocelyn Larocque with Ottawa's lone goal in that one. Tonight's game starts at 7 o'clock in Boston. And again, I mentioned that watch party. It's going to be taking place at TD Place on the big screen. Well, the Capital Region is full of rich history, so much so it's sometimes tough to know all there is to know about this area's past. And that's what makes Jane's Walk here in Ottawa and Gatineau so popular, giving people a chance to explore and learn. CTV's Camille Wilson joined in on some of those walks. Today, she's back to tell us all about this event. Camille.
Austin, it was truly a walk and talk, exploring Ottawa's past, present, and future on foot. Hundreds of people explored some of the city's historic neighborhoods. This year's theme is Walk the Story, where the streets become storybooks, giving us a look at Ottawa's rich history. Friends Connie Bryan and Sherry are not on a tour of history through one of Ottawa's most popular destinations.
I mean, the ByWard Market's an area you hear so much about, and it's not an area I come to much anymore, and I wanted to learn a lot more about the history about it as well.
With little personal time to explore on their own, the pair thought Jane's Walk was the perfect time to get to know the city.
I find Ottawa quite interesting, and I've worked for a long time, and I just haven't had the time to do these kind of walks.
Jane's Walk spans approximately 70 countries across the world. This year, more than 50 walks in the Capital Region, giving people a chance to learn.
Next year is the 200th anniversary of the ByWard Market. So it's about learning about the history of the market, but also looking towards the future and the city's plans.
Named after activist Jane Jacobs, a late author and urbanist who changed the way people think about how cities are planned. Over in Ottawa's Chinatown, walking leader Don Kwan leading the pack, learning about design, culture, and history.
I have very deep roots in Ottawa's Chinatown, being born and raised here. My family immigrated in the 1920s, so I have very tangible links to Canada's past, and I love doing these tours.
For some, it's bringing them back.
I do have a sort of fond memory of when I was in high school. We did a field trip here. We did an urban study where we walked the length of Somerset Street. I have this memory from like 40 years ago of walking Somerset Street, and so this is revisiting that Somerset adventure.
Jane's Walk is a festival of walking tours that encourages people to get out and hit the streets in honor of Jane Jacobs, and it's really more of a walking conversation.
A chance for old friends to reconnect.
She was standing beside me the entire time, and suddenly she heard my voice, and she's like, oh God, we haven't seen each other, I would say, in at least 10, 15 years, at least. So, so hopefully we'll go out for coffee.
As Ottawa grows and evolves, this event connects people and neighborhoods, introducing tourists and locals to hidden gems of the city. And there's still time to join some of the walks happening tomorrow within the Ottawa and Gatineau region. Austin.
Yeah, always something to see and do here, Camille. Thank you very much for this. That's CTV's Camille Wilson reporting live for us tonight.
It's potentially going to be on stream by 2029 to early 2030, so pretty quick turnaround.
Still ahead, President Donald Trump has authorized a new pipeline to bring Canadian oil into the United States. We'll have details on that right after the break. Before we go to a break, there's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is 8 degrees. While the future of our trade deal with the United States is still up in the air, the American president is giving a green light to a major project connecting our nations. Donald Trump has authorized a new pipeline to bring Canadian oil into the United States, and CTV's senior correspondent Judy Trin looks at the economics of the deal.
After years of pressure from environmental groups and Indigenous communities, the Keystone Pipeline was canceled in 2021. Now, with a stroke of a pen, U.S. President Donald Trump has revitalized parts of the project.
A huge new export capacity, probably about 550,000 barrels is the nameplate capacity, and certainly echoes the Keystone XL that had so many issues.
The new Bridger pipeline would take a different route, connecting the Northern Link, which begins in Hardisty, Alberta, to Guernsey, Wyoming.
Once you make that hub, that oil can then be sent anywhere where it needs to go to be processed.
The route avoids Indigenous land, but goes through private property.
It's potentially going to be on stream by 2029 to early 2030, so pretty quick turnaround.
Calgary-based partner Southbow says it's evaluating a potential expansion that would leverage its existing infrastructure to improve market access for Canadian crude. There was a rupture on part of the Keystone Pipeline in 2022. Environmentalists say they will fight this latest proposal.
This project is going to meet with the same opposition that Keystone did.
Beyond crude flowing south, the federal energy minister is pushing for oil to be piped westward to BC to deliver oil to Asia.
We should be doing everything we can to create the infrastructure so we have the optionality to sell our energy to as many of our allies as possible.
Some numbers to think about. Building this north-south pipeline will cost $2 billion. But analysts say building a pipeline from Alberta to BC will cost more than $20 billion and take at least 10 years to build, even if it's fast-tracked. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
I mentioned it earlier, but bears repeating. A little cooler in the capital today if you didn't get outside at all. Here's what we were looking at. A lot of people were still outside and taking advantage. We do have a weather VO to show you here. There it is. Okay, so a lot of people still getting outside and taking advantage. And there's a nice little market set up in the ByWard, which is a sign of the times. Although the clouds are kind of raining on the parade a little bit, there's still a lot to see and do down in the ByWard Market, and it's only getting warmer, folks. We saw a lot of people taking advantage of those booths and looking at the art and all of the jewelry that was on display. As we take our first look at the full weather forecast, the satellite radar showing a little bit of activity. You can see those spots of green showing where the rain is coming down in parts of our region. For the most part, the heavy showers have avoided us here in the nation's capital, at least in the downtown core. So far, has been on and off, but we'll keep an eye on it. 14 degrees right now in Charlottetown. It's 13 in Halifax and 11 degrees in Fredericton. We're still sitting at around 9 degrees right now with mostly cloudy conditions, 7 degrees in Toronto and 9 degrees, but cloud coverage out in Windsor. Beautiful out in Alberta and across the prairie. Saskatoon and Edmonton at 20 degrees today. They have summer-like conditions. Same goes for Winnipeg, 19 degrees there, 18 in Calgary, mostly sunny conditions. And look at Vancouver as well, 18 degrees there. They are in store for one of the warmest starts to May in about 10 years. So they actually have a water ban in place already, or water restrictions, I should say, going into the next few days because it is so toasty to start out May out on the West Coast. And we probably would like to see some of that. It depends who you are, obviously. Not great for the farmers, but great for anyone outside because instead what we're dealing with is a low of 0 degrees and then up to 12 degrees tomorrow, mostly cloudy conditions. -2 tonight in the Ottawa Valley with a chance of showers. 0 degrees is the low this evening along the Seaway. 12 there as well with mainly cloudy conditions for tomorrow afternoon. And then the 7-day forecast shows us that there is a bit of a warm-up in store, but a lot of precipitation as well. It's going to be 18 degrees to start the work week at Monday, 40% chance, 60% chance of rain on Tuesday, 16 degrees, but staying above 10 for the next 10 days. Building confidence and learning football fundamentals at the Ed Laverty Skills and Drills competition and event in Nepean. We'll have more on that story when we come back.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
A Montreal man is suing Ferrari Quebec for more than $20 million. He suffered second and third degree burns after a car exploded at the luxury dealership 2 years ago. CTV's Maya Johnson has that story.
Richard Papazian used to be an avid car enthusiast, but those days are over.
I started to drive a little bit now. It just tires me out very, very quickly.
And this is something that was a passion of yours.
It was a passion of mine. I loved driving. I loved cars. It was a dream to buy a Ferrari, and it turned out to be a nightmare.
On August 7th, 2024, a Ferrari Quebec salesman offered to take Papazian to the second floor of the dealership to show him a 2004 Ferrari 360 Pista Spider. The car belonged to multi-millionaire Quebec entrepreneur Luc Poirier. When it comes to Ferraris, it's often the sound of the engine that seduces potential buyers. Papazian says that's what the salesman wanted him to hear.
I was on the passenger side of the vehicle, and I was standing waiting to hear the sound of the car. He attempted to start the car several times, and on the third or fourth attempt, the next thing I knew, I was engulfed in flames.
Papazian was rushed to the CHUM burn unit with second and third degree burns to 56% of his body. The images taken at the hospital are graphic. CTV News has chosen to blur them. Papazian spent 4 weeks in a medically induced coma and another 4 months in hospital.
I was on dialysis. I was having operations. I had 7 skin graft operations while I was in the hospital. I was on heavy medication also during that time. It was a very, very difficult time, but I tried to look positive for I tried to look positive for my family, but it was so difficult.
Papazian later learned the fuel rail and injectors had been removed from the engine of Poirier's car by a master technician weeks before his fateful visit. In a $20.8 million lawsuit, Papazian alleges this was done, quote, without taking any precaution to prevent anyone from starting the engine, thus rendering the Ferrari 360 a dangerously compromised vehicle that had become a ticking time bomb. The Ferrari Quebec dealership belongs to Gad Biton, president of the Holland Automotive Group. Papazian says Ferrari Quebec hasn't returned the $20,000 deposit for the car he was originally planning to purchase. CTV News reached out to the lawyer representing the dealership, Biton, and the other parties named in the lawsuit, but did not receive a response.
And during all this time, not one person from Ferrari Quebec reached out to my family to offer them support.
CTV News obtained a copy of an incident report prepared by Montreal police after the explosion. The report concludes the fire was accidental and caused by a series of human actions that left Papazian with serious injuries. But several pages of the report are heavily redacted. The SPVM declined our request for an interview, providing a written statement instead. The SPVM is not in a position to comment on the lawsuit referenced in your request. This matter concerns a civil proceeding between private parties. As a public security organization, the SPVM must refrain from making any statement that could be perceived as influencing, validating, or contradicting matters currently before the courts. Meanwhile, Papazian says even the smallest things can be big triggers.
It was my birthday, and we went out, and they brought the cake with sparklers, and I didn't sleep all night because of it.
Still, he says he's grateful he's lived to see another birthday. Maya Johnson, CTV News.
In tonight's big picture, a fundraiser is being held this weekend that involves thousands of people climbing stairs, a lot of stairs, in support of a good cause.
Stop that clock. There it is, all done.
The World Wildlife Fund's CN Tower Climb for Nature is being held today and tomorrow. The climb up the tower's nearly 1,800 steps takes about an hour, rather a half hour. Between 6,000 and 7,000 people are taking part, with more than $1 million expected to be raised for wildlife in Canada. Well, now some other stories that you need to know right now. The weather was a bit too chilly today, but there was some light rain there as well. But soon, one of Ottawa's most popular markets will move outside. There's a look at 613 Flea today, which again was still inside. It eventually returns outdoors when the weather warms up. That could be in 2 weeks on May 16th when their next event will go ahead. Still, hundreds of people flocked to the market once again today, taking a look through a wide range of handmade goods, vintage clothing, food, and one-of-a-kind finds.
Our first skills event, I think we had about 40 kids, and we keep growing. This year we have about 85 to 90 kids, and every year, you know, we get more sponsors, more coaches, more volunteers. It really takes a village of people who come together.
Kids between 6 and 18 years old taking part in the Ed Laverty Legacy 6th Annual Football Skills and Drills event. The action-packed afternoon had skill stations led by pro and amateur football athletes and coaches, helping young athletes develop the essential skills needed to play the game. And funds raised at the event go to Youth in Sport, helping young athletes access equipment and opportunities to play. A reminder for OC Transpo riders, sections of the O train Line 2 are offline this weekend to allow for work on the track switches. Line 2 trains between Limebank and Greenboro stations today. Tomorrow, R2 bus service will run between Carleton and Bayview stations until 11 in the morning.
Lopez now Aparicio to Mateo, defended by Costa. West to Mateo, off the post and in. Alice Skublak to rip up Diego Arteaga's clean sheets.
Coming off a thrilling stoppage time draw in their home opener last weekend, Atletico Ottawa taking on Inter Toronto last night in the Battle of Ontario. And it really wasn't much of a battle. Toronto was up 4-0 when Atletico would get one back in the 84th minute. Ottawa will stay in Toronto to face Toronto FC in the Can Champ competition on Tuesday. Their next CPL game is on Sunday, May 17th in Halifax.
Barnes in the paint. RJ the deep three. High off the heel and through.
Magic moment there in the NBA. With the season on the line, the Toronto Raptors, their hometown hero RJ Barrett pulls up with a clutch three-pointer with seconds left in overtime to force Game 7 against the Cavs in Cleveland. The home team has won every game in this series so far. Tip-off for Game 7 is set for tomorrow night at 7:30.
I just keep in mind that I have to stretch and warm up to avoid getting hurt.
Doctors in Quebec say there's an epidemic of ACL injuries among teen athletes, with hundreds of young patients getting injured every year.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
It is now time to check in with our iHeartRadio Weekender, Tanea Taylor. Tanea.
Kicking it off today with the 4th annual Ottawa Clay Festival. This is presented by the Ottawa Guild of Potters and features an exhibition, demonstrations, children's activities, and lots more, including a pottery sale, so you can take home some handmade, one-of-a-kind items. You'll find this one at the Horticulture Building at Lansdowne, and the best part, admission is free. Next up today, celebrate Cinco de Mayo, a day early tomorrow in the ByWard Market. Free admission and activities for all ages, including a kids zone, dance workshops, food samples, and carnival games, just to name a few. This is a great one for the whole family. Last up today is a super fun one for ladies 50 and over. It's called Beauty and Besties, and it's a masterclass for anyone looking to learn more about makeup and makeup techniques. This is in Westboro and happening on Monday at 2 p.m. Lots more happening this weekend around the capital. For the full list and all the details, check out ctvottawa.ca/weekenders. For the iHeartRadio Weekenders, I'm Tanea Taylor. Have a great one.
iHeartRadio Weekenders is powered by Barhaven Ford, Ottawa's newest and largest Ford store, and Eastern Ontario's Ford EV leader.
Well, in case you missed it this week, as problems persist with both the trains and the buses for OC Transpo, it is often the operators and drivers who take the brunt of rider frustrations. But in the middle of all that, acts of courage from the drivers who go above and beyond. CTV's Leah LaRocque has one driver's story.
It wasn't part of the plan.
The Route 44 coming from Walkley, turning right on Alberta.
But for OC Transpo bus driver Yasha, he knew that helping was part of his job.
And that's when I saw a gentleman laying down in the middle of the road over there, which did not seem normal.
This past September, during the first morning run of the 44 herdman, Yasha rushed to help a young man in distress.
And that's when he told me he wants to take his life.
With compassion, Yasha convinced the man to get off the road, and he helped him onto the bus.
I'm like, hey, listen, you don't have to do this. Come with me. I'll try to help you out. And he was saying, no, I want to stay. I'm like, no, please. I begged him. I'm like, you need to come with me. Come. And that's when he actually trusted me.
Passengers were transferred onto another bus, and Yasha stayed with the man until help arrived.
The first thing they teach you that the emergency plan is there for you.
In his years of experience, Yasha says this isn't the first time that he's had to call in a safety concern. But he says he knows exactly what to do because OC Transpo provides all of their bus drivers with the necessary safety training.
As a bus operator, you're the eyes and the ears on the road.
Yasha was one of nearly 60 OC Transpo employees honored for their outstanding actions on the job at a ceremony on Tuesday.
Safety is one of the hardest things to recognize employees on because when it's done right, nothing happens. You know, there's no collision, there's no injury, there's no headline.
Yasha says he understands frustrations from passengers about the system's problems.
I try to do best as I can, like all the other bus drivers.
After 14 years on the job, this isn't the first safety pin that Yasha wears proudly. But the man he helped is always on his mind.
I probably will give him my phone number and say, if anytime you need anything, call me. Someone you need to talk to, call.
A job he says he is honored to do.
Wearing this uniform, it's an honor, and it's an honor to serve the city.
Leah LaRocque, CTV News.
Orthopedic surgeons in Quebec are raising the alarm about their youngest patients. Doctors say they're treating hundreds of children and teens with knee injuries, such as a tear in their ACL, and the number of cases is growing every year. CTV's Olivia O'Malley reports.
This is a warm-up the Westmount High girls flag football team does before games and practice to avoid injuries.
We have to warm up. If we show up late, we warm up. We always do our running. We always have to stretch.
I just keep in mind that I have to stretch and warm up to avoid getting hurt.
Doctors say the number of young athletes tearing their anterior cruciate ligament in the knee, also known as the ACL, is skyrocketing. The usually non-contact injury is often caused by sudden stops, jumping, or quick changes in direction. That's why sports like flag football, soccer, and skiing are considered high risk.
I don't want to be overly dramatic, but I do use the word epidemic.
That's more than double the number in the last 20 years.
According to the Quebec Orthopedic Association, 388 people under 18 had ACL surgery last year alone. Doctors we spoke to say patients are getting younger. They're operating on athletes as young as 7 years old.
It has to do with super specializing the kids, having them do only one sport, training them like they're little adults when they're not little adults yet.
Specialists say they often treat teammates, leaving teams down a player or two for long periods of time.
It's a year out of sport. Return to play is not guaranteed. Re-injury rates are sky high. And there are things that are so easy to do that we can do to decrease the injury rate, you know?
Doctors are encouraging young athletes to do more strength and conditioning exercises. They say they can help prevent up to 70% of injuries.
And the goal is to have a better movement control. So we work on trunk control, hamstring strength, glute strength.
She says once or twice a week is a good start, in addition to a proper warm-up to prevent ACL tears. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
We have reason to believe you are using that list.
Alberta's Privacy Commissioner is calling for changes to legislation after a separatist group allegedly obtained the province's electoral list illegally. I'll have details on this story right after the break. Alberta's Privacy Commissioner is calling for changes to legislation after a separatist group allegedly obtained the province's electoral list illegally. Elections Alberta and the RCMP are now investigating after the Centurion Project posted the list online. And CTV's Connor Hogg reports one criminologist says Albertans are now at risk of identity theft.
We have reason to believe you are using that list.
The Office of the Information and Privacy Commissioner of Alberta says the unauthorized use of 2.9 million voters' personal information is evidence of a concerning gap in Alberta's privacy laws. The official electors list includes any information provided when you register to vote.
Your name, number, your address. I believe sometimes if people want to make their emails available to Elections Alberta, they can.
Evan Menzies with Crestview Strategy spent years working in Alberta politics. He says parties use the lists to help elections run better and faster.
It cuts down the resourcing time for parties to be able to contact people and make sure that they know if they've been to that door before. It also helps during advanced voting periods and election day periods for political parties to make sure that they're doing effective outreach with currently registered voters.
The electors list is provided in trust to every provincial political party and carries strict compliance rules. Former EPS Inspector Dan Jones says the information included could be used to cause serious harm.
The first thing I think of, probably because of my background, is identity theft and the impact that identity theft can have on human beings and people.
Documents previously posted on the Centurion Project's website showed participants needed a login in order to access the information.
People that are good at this don't need to log in and submit things. They can hack into these things very easily. So it's very likely that somebody has got some of this data, and it's going to be potentially cause harm to people.
Jones says the best way to make sure you haven't been victimized is to request a credit report. Alberta's Privacy Commissioner is now calling on the provincial government to change privacy laws to include political parties. Premier Danielle Smith says she's waiting for the results of RCMP and Elections Alberta's investigations before she'll consider possible legislative changes. Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Well, she makes runs off the ball that allows freedom for her other teammates.
Oh! What a giveaway! And they make them pay!
Coming up, we will head back to TD Place Stadium for a recap of Rapid FC's home opener and the fans that are sticking around for a watch party on the big screen. There's a live look through our Centennial Glass Skycam. It is still 8 degrees.
Tonight, vacation or staycation?
I mean, we really do want to go, but what kind of concession can you make on how much you can afford to drive places?
How soaring gas prices have travelers rethinking summer road trip plans. Later on CTV National News and Watch on Crave.
Hairstyles, courtesy of Salon Fiorella.
Here's a recap of the top local stories we're following right now.
Are you finally home?
No.
New data from Stats Canada show an increase in domestic travel as more Canadians explore more of what this country has to offer.
Well, I feel proud working here, first of all, because this is the first store.
Celebrating a local business success story, Giant Tiger turns 65 and it's throwing itself a nice birthday party as well. We were invited.
I wanted to learn a lot more about the history about it as well and see also the future and what their plans are.
And discovering unseen corners of the community while connecting our neighbors and neighborhoods on the annual Jane's Walk. The event happening right across cities across North America, sparking conversations while on a walk, inspired by the late urbanist Jane Jacobs. Not too bad outside for that Jane's Walk today as well. A little bit of cloud coverage and a little bit cooler than usual and some rain. So I'm just kind of trying to convince myself that it wasn't so bad. We're waking up to 0 degrees, so quite cool for this time of year. Not something that we like to get accustomed to. And then tomorrow's going to be slightly warmer. Hopefully no precipitation for Sunday with a high of 12 degrees, but then it'll roll in. 40% chance on Monday with a high of 18. 60% chance on Tuesday, high of 16 degrees. We're staying around the teen mark for the next 7 days, but you can see those chances of rain over the course of the next week. We wanted to bring in CTV's Kimberly Fowler now to end the show because, Kim, I understand there's a couple of big games we're following.
That's right. We've got a special watch party about to get underway at Lansdowne.
And right after that game, there is also going to be a special watch party. Yeah. We're talking about the Rapid FC game for those of you who are just tuning in. Ottawa's Rapid FC is teaming up to support the Ottawa Charge for Game 2 in the team's playoff matchup in Boston. And this right here is a live look at the stands of all of these fans taking in the home opener for Rapid FC. As soon as that game wraps up, they're going to be welcomed to stay.
Stay on the field, yeah. So there's seconds left in this game. The Rapid, they're up 5-2. So as soon as this wraps up, they're going to rush the field so they can get the best spot.
Right. And then they're going to watch the Ottawa Charge game.
Yes.
Taking on the Boston Fleet. Game 2. It's a big one.
Yeah.
They're down 1-0 in the series.
They got to even it up.
And we all have hope.
Yes.
Go Charge, go. Good night, everybody.
See you tonight.